Hey, it's Jeff, and welcome back to another series of Milsurp Rifle. And today we're going to be discussing the M1 Carbine, or the United States 30 cal carbine. This gun was manufactured for World War II, and it served all the way through Korea and Vietnam. It is used today by smaller countries such as Indonesia, so this gun is actually still in service today. The M1 Carbine got its name from M1. Now, the military, or the United States military, in 1925 changed the way they designated their rifles. So this was the first, after that designation, the first carbine of the time, hence M1, Model 1 30 carbine. 30, that's what it shoots, a 30 caliber carbine ammunition. And then it was there was also the M2, second model, and an M3. All these variants were basically looked like this gun. The M2 was a fully automatic or selector gun where it could shoot semi-automatic or full, and the M3 was an M2 with an infrared scope attached. So just know your models and where they may have came from or how they're designated by name. The two rifles that we have here today are representations of the Korean War M1 carbine, and they are equipped with a bayonet. That would indicate that this was a gun produced probably after 1945. The two that we have are a Winchester and an IBM model. Both these are being extremely collectible today, and most carbines that you'll find today are upward over $1,000. So this gun is something that is highly collectible and sought after. And like I tell you guys, if you find one somewhere, get it, because these will do nothing but go up in value. They're not making these anymore. Iver Johnson was making a post-war model, but they're not really collectible. They shoot great, but they're not the real thing as far as a wartime issued piece is concerned. So anyway, let's get into it, and thank you for coming. So the US came up with the M1 carbine about in the beginning of World War II. It was discovered that German troops armed with light machine guns using smaller rounds as paratroopers were very effective in battle, and we wanted to copy that. We wanted to come up with a gun that could perform as well. Light, powerful, and easy to transport. There was actually a variant of this gun with a folding stock, and that actually was considered the paratrooper model, although these guns were used all over the conflict in various situations. But that was the main reason for the design. And this was originally a Browning designed gun, Ed Browning being the brother of John Browning. And then Williams made some changes to the gun. So just know that's a little bit of the history and development of the piece. And it did go through several changes even during World War II to develop the guns that you see today. So let's talk a little bit about the M30 carbine round. The M30 carbine round is a centerfire cartridge, and today we're going to be using a Winchester cartridge. It's a 110 grain full metal jacket round, which was what they would have used during the time. And you can see this round resembles a pistol round. I'll bring one up close to the camera. Now, looking at this ballistically, it is about twice the energy of a 45 ACP. So one of these is equivalent to 245s. It's a pretty powerful round. It'll group about 3 inches at 100 yards and had a maximum range of 300 yards. You know, not a bad round considering how small it is and the power that it had. Now, there was times in Korea where it was discovered that the slower moving 110 just didn't have enough oomph, if you will, to penetrate some of the heavier clothing, at least effectively. So just know that it did go through some changes and did suffer for certain aspects of its capabilities in other conflicts. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up one of the weapons that we have. I'll bring up the Winchester to go over some of the various parts and aspects of the gun in close-up. Now, during World War II, these guns were issued with a fixed 15 round detachable magazine, and that's what you see pictured here. Typically you'll find these sights, which are ramp style, which do have adaptations for windage, but you'll also find them with just a flip up with a tighter peep for long distance shooting. Either one are great, but this one is preferable just because you can adapt for the windage. You'll also note that this particular rifle is equipped with the bayonet, and this is an earlier model bayonet. They actually had about 7 different models of bayonets for this gun, and these are collectible in themselves. You can do your research on where these were manufactured. There was various plants and manufacturers and different times of manufacture. And this clips in here. This particular one is a leather handled bayonet, which indicates it is an older one, with a fiberglass sheath. You simply take that off and there's your bayonet. Now, the safety on this gun. The safety on this gun is right here, and it's just a little lever. We flip this down, we put the gun on safe. We take it, we flip it back upward, we've taken it off safe. It's that simple. So nice feature, not complicated to operate your safety. We also equip this one with a magazine, a fixed pouch, and it goes right on the stock as such. I've read that these weren't really adopted by US troops. However, I have seen pictures where US troops are using these, so I think that's debatable. But anyway, this one will hold 2 15 round magazines, and I think it's a great look on your piece. The other thing that you'll notice is the sling. The sling, of course, goes through a standard swivel at the top. However, in the back, you'll notice that the sling is actually embedded in the stock. And if you pull this out, there's actually a tube here, which is called an oiler. And the oiler is just that. Inside, you can unscrew it, and there's a needle, if you will, that will come out. And you can oil the various parts of your gun, metal to metal contact. So great way of doing it. Always good to have that. And if you have one of these guns, I would urge you to pick up the proper oiler and sling. I've seen sometimes where guys will put a dowel in there, and hey, those oilers are not that expensive. You can find them online pretty easy. What else? This button on your charging handle is how you keep your charging handle back. So if you wanted to clean it and keep your charging handle back, simply pull this back. The magazine will not hold it back. You have to push that button, and that'll hold your magazine back in place. And then to reset that, we simply pull on the charging handle. The spring inside resets that button, and the bolt will now close. Now, just for a little factoid for you, originally the M1 Carbine did not have a rotating bolt. You'll notice that the bolt actually rotates, and that was something that Williams had added to the Browning design. And it also was great. It was done to help prevent sand or small particulate out of the chamber area, as well as keep the bolt functioning. And you'll see this copied in a lot of arms today. So this is a great design for that purpose, sand and so forth. So just know that. Beyond that, that's really it about this gun. They're very simple to maintain. They're really easy to take apart. And again, I apologize we haven't got to them yet, but we will be doing, in the colder months when things really start to freeze up, we'll be doing some cleaning videos for you guys on a lot of these guns to help you with bolt assemblies and so forth. But this gun is very simple to maintain. Now, since we talked about the Winchester that we brought today, I'm going to bring up the IBM. Now, absolutely no difference whatsoever in action on the IBM. Now, if you're wondering how to know who manufactured the gun, underneath the sight here, and if you have one of these sights, it's difficult to find because it's printed right underneath there, is the manufacturer. And there were several manufacturers of these, just like, you know, we did in World War II. A lot of the companies you're familiar with today did produce arms. There was Inland, which was General Motors. You had Winchester, IBM, Saginaw, and there was some of the sewing machine companies even got involved and made these guns. So you'll find a various number of manufacturers and do your history on these. Some are worth more than others based on how many were produced, what serial range was produced, and so forth, and I'll let you guys do that. The other thing you'll notice on this gun, it has a longer magazine. This is a 30 round detachable magazine, and this was primarily developed after World War II. So 1945 and thereabouts is when you'll find these to be used, and there was actually a banana clip attached to these where you could invert them. So you could have essentially 60 rounds on you with an inverted clip. So nice setup, great gun, very powerful 30 cal carbine. One other manufacturer I forgot to mention was Rockola. Rockola was another manufacturer that made these weapons. So if you find those, they're out there. One thing I did want to point out, the bolt design that you'll see on this gun is flat. It resembles a M1 Grand type bolt where it has that flat piece and then it rounds up. If you find one that's all round, those were typically used for the M2 model, which was, could run full auto. I'm told that bolt was stronger. I think that this bolt certainly would run in full auto, but if you find one that's round and you're wondering what the heck that's all about, that's an M2. So just know your differences. I thought I'd point that out to you. And hey, thanks for watching. Okay, we're going to be firing the 30 carbine, M1 30 carbine today. And like I tell you guys always before shooting any firearm, always have your ear protection as well as your eye protection, and put them on before shooting. And be sure to know what you're shooting at, what's going to stop that round, and what may be behind you, and nobody gets hurt. Let's go ahead and do some shooting. I'm going to load up the magazine with 5 rounds and see how that does. I'm going to use the 15 round magazine, and I'm going to use the Winchester M1 30 carbine. Let's shoot and have some fun. Now I do have pumpkins set up down there. We got 2 cameras running, so there should be some interesting shots taken. This is full metal jacket, so it's not going to be too spectacular, but let's see what happens. The other thing you want to do when shooting this gun, make sure that you remove at least the bayonet scabbard. I'm going to remove the entire bayonet just to get it out of the way, but the scabbard is in the way of the muzzle, so that could present a problem. So make sure you take this off if you so have one. Loading up 5 rounds. Going hot. Let's get some. Well, all 5 rounds seem to enter the target pretty well. My offhand shooting not the greatest, but did pretty good. No problem whatsoever, as you could see in the action. Worked terrific. It was only 5 shots, but hey, it did good. Let's try it again. Always check your action before you shoot. Make sure that it's clear. And again, we're using the Winchester ammo, 5 rounds. Semi-auto. Going hot. Get some. I'm going to go for the smaller pumpkin on the ground area. Oh, stovepipe. Now when you get a jam like that, be sure you clear it, inspect it. Let's try it again. No problem. I need a little oil. Haven't fired this gun in a bit, so I'm not going to blame the gun. I'm going to blame my maintenance. It's a little chilly out here, but certainly not freezing cold. Take that last round, that stovepipe. Clear it. One shot. No problem. Okay, we loaded her up. Going hot. Let's get some. Well, that concludes today's video. Thank you for watching the M1 Carbine. Fantastic rifle, powerful, ready for use. Go get yourself one. Don't hesitate. If you have any other questions or if anybody wants to see anything close up, always ask. And hey, please respond, like, and comment. We're not perfect, as we always say. If there's something that we said that was incorrect, feel free to jump in. We love to hear your stories. And subscribe. We'd love to have you on board. Lots of rifles to go in our Milsurp collection, and soon we will be getting to modern firearms. So anyway, have a good day, and thank you for watching Treeline Sports, our Milsurp rifle series. Take care.